There is magic in the cracking of a whip. It is wonderfully versatile in its expression, and it even borders on being poetic. Let me explain what I mean. A whip has different forms, much like poems come in different forms. Each version of a whip has a specific history and a specific use in mind. An Australian stock whip is composed of a light wooden handle and a slender body, made to be light and fast. It pops, it cracks, it flits, and flies. It achieves speed and complex maneuvers elegantly. On the other end of the spectrum is the snake whip. This whip has no stiffening in the handle and is heavy all the way through. This whip can do complex maneuvers like the stock whip, but it shines best with slow and methodical movement. It flows and floats and never seems to be in a hurry. Bullwhips are a happy middle ground between these two extremes. They can go fast, they move slow, and they move uniquely. As I learned about poetry, I discovered that some forms of poetry allow for better execution of goals than other forms. Much like certain tricks are easier to do with one type of whip than with another. The beauty of some poems come from their form, rather than in spite of it. Many think that villanelles are not suited to narratives, and find their true value in other ways than through narrative. I agree with this idea in most circumstances. Just like the snake whip, villanelles are meant to expand meaning through slow repetition, rather than through fast motion and many sounds. Narratives are better suited to the stock whip style of poems, where sounds can be quick and colorful, rather than imposed upon the slower moving form of the snake whip. The snake whip, like a villanelle, can be made to hold a narrative, but usually at the loss of the beauty for which it is known. In the right hands, whips can tell stories. They can mimic very closely the moving of trains or the galloping of horses. They can make musical beats that cause people to dance. They can be fast as lightning and cry with the voice of man-made thunder. They can be precise as a scalpel in the hands of a surgeon, or as easygoing as a jump rope. Like poetry, the basics of whip use are easy to learn. The finesse of cracking whips and getting it to tell the story that you want is something that takes a lifetime. Gratefully, it isn't that hard to find joy in the process of making poetry.